everyone, it's Lottie. Welcome to my channel. This is the second part of my anime eye tutorial. So as you can see, I'm just doing a new layer, and this is just going to be where we block out the colour of the skin. I'm just putting the skin down just so the eye looks a little bit more 3D when we paint it. This isn't a skin colouring tutorial though at the moment. I will want to put some highlights and shadows into it though. You can do your skin colour whatever skin colour you want as well, so just experiment with your looks. So I'm just airbrushing some colour in. I'm trying to keep it quite plain at the moment though, just basic highlights and shadows. I don't want to go too crazy because the eye is the main focus on this tutorial. I just want to make the eyes look like they pop, so I'm really bringing some shadows around it now. I'm just focusing along the eyelashes. You can always drop down your flow if you're struggling to get a nice blend. I really like a soft look when doing anime, so I tend to use an airbrush instead. It just depends, or you can work with any brush in Photoshop, it doesn't really matter. The eye's really starting to pop now, which is really cool. I'm just continuing to add in highlights. You want your features to look 3D as well, so it is important to focus on shadows and highlights. Don't worry if you don't get this straight away, it will come in time. So what I did then is I created a new layer. I'm going to fill it with a grey. I'm going for a mid-tone grey as well. If you have your eyes too white, it just looks a bit silly I think. I think you need to put a bit more effort into it. So I've locked the transparency as you could see then. And I'm going to go in and bring the colour up now. What this effect does is it adds in shadow for me. I'm doing another layer now. The reason I'm doing this is so everything is separate, and I'm going to go in with the deepest colour that I want the iris to be, so that's a really dark blue. So I've made sure that colour's really flat now. That's given me a great base to work from. We're on our way to getting this done now. I've locked the transparency again, but I've done this on the line work layer. I just want to make these lines a little bit less visible, but I still want the guides there to show me what's going on. Guides are always there to help you, so use them as much as you can. I'm going to bring in a brighter colour now, and I've locked the transparency of this blocked dark blue that we used, and I'm just airbrushing some colour in. I'm trying to bring in other colours that are similar to blue as well, like a little bit of green. Anime eyes are always like magnificent, they always look really glassy and pretty, so that's why I'm bringing more colours in. I've made the pupil a light colour for now. I don't know where I want to go with it yet, because there's so many different things that you can do. Don't be afraid to just block out colours and then rework them later on. Sometimes white can be a bit too contrasty, it's nice to have some lighter colours in there for the glint on the eyes as well. I'm just erasing some of my line work as well, I don't need it anymore. I want my glints on my eyes to not have any outline on them. Don't worry if you're struggling to keep up, you can pause the tutorial if you're struggling. I've added in an even darker colour now, and this is above all the other layers apart from the line layer, and I'm just shaping a shadow on the eye. I'm having a little play around with the layer effects as well, and I've put it to multiply and dropped the opacity down. You can adjust this as well and work into it. Don't worry if you go outside the lines, as long as you can erase them, that's fine. Just keep all your colouring under the line work for now. That's the most important thing. I went slightly over these glints, so what I've done is I've just erased it around them as well. I'm still not sure about the pupil. I'm going to add colour into that later. It probably will be black, but you can add in colours as well. It makes it look more cool. So as you can see, I'm deepening this shadow now. I really want the eye to be quite dark, but have a nice highlight on the iris. Again, if you go over some of the glints, it's fine to just rub it out. So I've just done another layer now. And what I'm going to do is something really cool. We're going to add more glints onto the eye, but we're going to use the lasso tool to create a shape for us. As you can see here, it's a little bit crazy, but we can erase some of it. You can use a soft eraser just to erase the edges, and that'll give like a soft effect on it. It gives it a sort of reflection. So now, what I've done is I've created a layer above all of my other layers, and I've gone in with a bright white, and I'm adding in where my highlight to be on the eye. This is just going to give me an idea of how everything's going to go. Some people do this in the last stage, but I think doing it in the middle helps you understand where the reflections will be on the eye. So just keep that in mind. Do whatever works for you though. I'm just using the eraser to sharpen up some of these shines on the eye as well. If it does seem a little bit overwhelming, just pause the video and just have a look at what I'm doing, and just take your time, there's no rush. I'm going to go in with a soft brush now, a soft airbrush, and I've created another layer above the glint of the eyes, and I've put it to a linear dodge, and I've gone in with a deep blue. This is just to give a bit of bloom to the eye. It makes it pop, it's great. It's a really neat effect this as well, and it works in so many different ways. It's such a cool trick that I will do a tutorial on it and show you even more effects that you can do as well with lighting. So all I'm doing now is I'm just adding more layers underneath the lines again. I really want to work into this iris. It takes a lot of layering and different colours, but you will get there. It's just a bit of experimenting. Don't be afraid to try stuff. The lasso tool's great as well. The lasso tool could be used to create that nice shape. You can bring either the gradient tool in and just drag some colour in with a transparency, or you could just paint it in, it's fine. It gives it a great cartoony look this, I think though. So it's just using the gradient fill tool, just making sure it has the transparency on though. Again, you can just go in and clean it up now with an eraser. You can add in little lines where stuff is as well, that's really cool. You can add in detail with the eraser as well, which is quite cool. So once you get into this stage, you must be feeling like some accomplishment, like you're getting somewhere, which is really cool. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm drawing an anime eye, I just love it. It's just so fun. And there's so many different ways you can create the eyes as well, and you can put so much emotion into them as well. I will do future tutorials on emotion in anime eyes as well, but I'm going to be focusing so many different tutorials on so many different things for you guys. I'm really working on my content, and I'm taking in feedback from everybody as well, and everyone's support's just been great. I just coloured in the eyebrow then because it was looking a little bit weird with no colour on it. So you will get to this stage where you're starting to see like a really cool look to it, and now it's just about polishing it, working into it even more. As I said in previous videos as well, you can lock transparency. This is great for anime. What you can do when you lock the transparency is you can go in with a soft airbrush and you can just put a bit of colour into the eyelashes. So if your character's got blue hair, you could add a little bit of blue onto the tips of the eyelashes. It just looks great. It gives it a bit more realism in a way. It sounds a bit daft that actually because it's anime, but it does work. It looks really cool. Locking the transparency on the line art as well is just so good for like just making the lines less abrasive or let's say too dark, because black lines can look a little bit too much sometimes. But as I said though, it does depend on your style and your work as well. There's nothing wrong with going over the top with anime eyes, or I think you need to a little bit sometimes. You need to convey a lot of emotion in them. You can go in and add little sparkles and all sorts. It's really fun. With the iris, you can really go in and pick out some details. I've kept it quite a light colour. I don't know why, I just think it looks really cool. And I've seen a lot of anime artists do this sort of style as well. It doesn't always have to be black, just use your imagination a little bit. It's not real, is it? You can even add colours into it as well and then play around with layer effects. It gives like a really great reflection into the eyes, it makes them look alive. As you can see, I'm just playing around with colours, seeing what works. It is a little bit of experimenting sometimes as well. You guys will have to let me know in the comments as well whether you enjoyed this tutorial. I really hope you guys made some eyes as well and coloured them in following my tutorials. There's some little other things that you can do as well. I mean, this is a proper final stage. I'd do a save before doing this. You can merge it down so all the layers are one, and then what you can do is you could duplicate it, and then with the duplicated layer you can do a Gaussian blur on it, and then you can just put it to like screen or something, any layer effect that lightens it, and just bring down the opacity so it's really soft, and then it'll just make it look a little bit softer, which is really nice. And as on the final stage, it sounds a little bit daft, but you can sharpen it all, and you can play around with the threshold on the sharpen tool. It's really good for like picking out like little details. The threshold just controls it a little bit so it only picks out certain parts as well. So that's it for this tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want, you can like and subscribe and follow more of my content as well on my channel. You'll get the most updated tutorials then. Thank you very much everyone.